Welcome.
Oh, you can see Cat and you can see Cat.
You can see Cat.
Is that okay that she's in
Oh,
it?
absolutely. B is adorable.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome back to the night shift. We got another episode for you today, and it's gonna be spicy, baby. Speaking of spicy babies, Abby Smith, thanks for joining me tonight.
Hello. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Let's move on to what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about I don't remember what it's called.
It's called Vivarium.
I was like, Vitarium? That doesn't sound right.
Vegetarian?
The true horror is not being able to eat meat. So we're going to be talking about Vivarium. I don't know who it's directed by, but I know that it stars Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. And I hope that I'm saying that correctly. I tried to watch interviews and stuff to figure it out, but it just still seemed, I'm still nervous. And especially because I like her a lot.
I think it seems most right.
Okay, cool.
She's great. She's really great.
Abby, will you give us a little taste, a little synopsis of what this movie's about?
I sure would. So, cute young couple goes on a little drive to find a house because they're house shopping. Who doesn't love that? Sorry, I'm being weird right now. Vivarium is about a young couple who are looking for a house, go visit a real estate agent, doing all the right things, and then they get locked or trapped in a neighborhood, and then they're forced to raise a child that is not their child. So that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is Vivarium. So as I previously said, I'm a big fan of Imogen Poots. I really like her. I don't remember the first time that I saw her, but I just remember being like, oh dang, this actor is awesome. I want to watch everything that she's in. And so I remember looking at her IMDb and seeing this movie and being like, oh cool little synopsis, kind of sounds like a Twilight Zone episode type of thing. So although to say I was excited to watch this movie, I was into it. I had known that most people didn't really like it, but I tried to go into every film with an open heart. And so, Abby, my question to you, had you known anything about this film? What are your thoughts on the actors? Were you surprised to see them? Did you recognize them? Tell me everything.
I had not heard of the film before you brought it up to me, and I was surprised that I hadn't heard of it because Jesse Eisenberg, Imogen Poots are pretty well known. So I was really excited. Had really high expectations. I don't know. Thought it was going to be great.
Well, spoiler alert, seems like we're hinting at something, Abby, so let's just jump into it. To quote a famous Italian saying, I thought that this movie was a very boring meatball. Was that terrible, or was that just like the best thing you've ever seen in your life?
I don't know. It was one of those things. I'm not sure which one.
All right. So let's start off with what we liked, Abby, because I think it's pretty clear that you and I both didn't enjoy this film.
I, first of all, loved the setting. I thought it was so fun. It was this very Edward Scissorhands, like you said, Twilight Zone, kind of weird, creepy neighborhood, and it has this like surrealism. It naturally builds suspense, and what else?
Is that it?
Honestly, the plot, I didn't hate the plot. I thought it was a solid, fun little idea, but it should have been little. It should have been like 30 minutes, an hour-long short film. I didn't want that much of the movie. I'm sorry, I'm getting into things I didn't like.
Hey,
so,
man,
that's all.
This is a peaceful place. We're just trying to, it's 2020, there's grace. We're trying to figure it out. I don't know why I turned into a hippie all of a sudden, but
2020, the year of peace.
That's right. For me, positives, I like Imogen Poots, and I think that she does a great job in this movie. There are a couple scenes where she gets to really shine, and by shine, I mean it requires a lot of emotion. Like, it's not kind of a scene that a person can just kind of sleepwalk through. And so whenever I see scenes that stand out as being like, this is an acting scene, this is where you truly have to pretend that something beyond you, something amazing, something terrifying is happening. And there's a couple of those scenes in here, and I think she did a really good job. And I honestly kept going, what blackmail did these people get on you to make you be in this movie? Just can't really see either of them being like, oh yeah, this script slaps, I'm going to be in this.
It's possible that we are personally offending Imogen Poots at this moment.
It is true, and that gives me a lot of anxiety. Thankfully, I have a prescription for that. And I apologize, Imogen. Sorry I didn't like this movie. You were good in it, but I didn't like almost anything else. The other thing, the other positives I will say about the movie is that it does have moments that incited fear and or discomfort in me. Not many, but there is a reoccurring sound and kind of action with the child that they are tasked with taking care of, and that child did get to me. And I guess Abby did not agree because she's laughing. I don't know.
No, I'm laughing because it's so true.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, I watched this movie like last week sometime. And then today, this morning, I was not doing anything. I was like, I'm going to get some work done. I should put something on. I was like, oh, I should just rewatch Vivarium so it's fresh, for this.
You rewatched it?
Most of it.
Dang,
but
girl.
It reached a point with this child where I was like, why am I doing this? I remember what happened. This is horrible. I don't want to listen to this anymore. So I turned it off. Watched Lilo and Stitch instead.
Good. That's a good decision. I couldn't watch this movie again. But again, props to the filmmakers because this child is not a normal child. Again, I won't go beyond that, but one of the things that it repeatedly does is it mimics its parents' voices. And even its normal voice is just a little bit lower than what a kid's voice should be. And so I did find that very unnerving. I found it very disturbing. Most of the time, though, I just found it grating. It was just annoying because this kid sucked. Good actor, but it just drove me crazy, which maybe was the point. And if that's the case, awesome. Doesn't mean I had fun, though. The kid aspect is creepy sometimes. There is some legit horror to be found there, and I thought it was an interesting idea.
I thought it was really interesting. I mean, like the entire setting and the plot and everything seemed to kind of be a metaphor for living in suburbia and like regretting your decisions to do that, which I didn't think was very fair considering those are things that some people actually want and like really love doing. The child, for example, is like, well, if this was their child, they probably would actually love it.
To transition to what you're talking about, Abby, to where we just get into negatives, because again, I didn't really like this movie. This film has a really interesting setup. Again, it's got that high concept plot. The problem is the filmmakers, the writers, whatever, did not put in any work into the actual meat of the story. Because like you said, Abby, what actually happens, I'm not against. I don't mind. The actual like plot, like creepy house, tasked with, raising a child, can't get out of the neighborhood. That stuff's all fine. It's just that the film thinks it's really clever, being like, oh, plain house, suburbia. It's just kind of like saying a bunch of words and hoping that you insert interesting ideas and theories, but it's not actually saying anything. This film's basic as is, I think, the literal term.
That's it.
There's no intelligence really behind the analogy.
Exact same thing. I felt like they were like holding my hand and leading me through the movie and like, this is what's going to happen next. And then it would happen to me like, okay.
Going off of that, I throughout the whole movie, I was very bored, as I said, with my offensive Italian chef accent. And I kept thinking, okay, why am I so bored? Why am I not latching on? Because I couldn't point my finger to anything that was inherently bad. Again, like, the filmmaking's not incompetent, the acting's good, it's an interesting situation. So I was like, why am I feeling really bored? Why do I want to check my phone every 5 seconds? And what I realized, I think the biggest flaw that I have with this film is that it has no characterization at all. You know nothing about the main characters. They don't talk about anything interesting. You would think that in this insane situation, you could get some really tasty dialogue of people going, like it would be fun because you would feel like you're along with the characters going, what is the purpose of this? Because like after your brain gets past the shock and trauma of, oh my gosh, I'm trapped, it's going to go into castaway mode where it's like, okay, I need to figure out how to get off or out of this place. I need to test and do these sorts of things. And that could be fun as an audience member. You're having ideas and then the characters are doing them because your characters are smart. But the film skips past all of that and just it does a time jump into passive mode where the characters are just like, okay, here we are. And you miss what could have been so much interesting stuff.
I also noticed how they skipped like the interesting like problem solving stage of that situation, and I was excited by that. I was like, okay, great. Like I don't need to watch another movie of like them figuring out, okay, what are we going to do to spend our time? What are we going to do to survive? That kind of stuff. I thought it was a really good opportunity for them to do something different of like, what's a unique thing they can do after they've tried everything, except they didn't do anything. They just existed. And I'm not going to lie, this whole movie hit pretty different after quarantine. Like, I'm not impressed. I've been there.
Do you have any last thoughts, Abby? Again, I hate being negative. It is a accomplishment for anyone to make a film. If this was their vision and people got to do it, that's awesome. And again, art and film is subjective. This film had a lot of stuff that just really drives me crazy. And so again, I admit it was hard to watch, but I don't take it personally. I mean, I did in the moment, but I will honestly forget about this movie after a couple days. So
it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be all right. Any last thoughts about it though before we give our ratings?
I don't think so. There wasn't very much music in it, but I really enjoyed when there was music. Good soundtrack.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Nice.
Way to end on a positive.
Yeah.
It's very nice of you. Abby, what would you give Vivarium?
D+. It feels really harsh. I feel maybe C-. I don't know.
Be confident, Abby. Remember what this film did to you. No.
D+.
Dang. Okay. Fantastic. Well, I am actually twinsies with you this time, unlike last time when I lied about being twinsies. I'm a D+
when you
as
were,
well.
But weren't. Really?
I am. Yeah. It gets the D+ because it really did bore me, which is one of the worst things a film can do. Like, it can be bad, but if you're entertained, that's different. But I just was bored. It wasted a good idea, and it just annoyed me with, again, its basicness, how its lack of creativity and characterization. But again, it did freak me out sometimes. It did elicit emotion from me, and again, Imogen Poots was really good in the movie. But Abby, thank you so much for joining me on the night shift. It's great having you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, that was the night shift. Thanks for watching. Bye. So cute.